Hey guys, so welcome back to Monday, August 31st, right? So hope everybody had a great weekend. Some of you all are actually here today and we're looking forward to actually seeing you. Some of you are staying home, we won't see you until Wednesday, but we're going to continue on with the virtual learning like we have in the past few weeks. So what we're going to do today is we're moving away from decimals a little bit and we're actually going to start working with fractions. So fractions is something you should be familiar with because that's something that you did a lot of in 5th grade. We don't know exactly if you finished fractions in 5th grade before everything happened or not. So we're going to kind of take today to do a little review of fractions, which is improper and mixed numbers and how to change in between both of those. So where we're going to be at today in your folder is 19 pages from the front. So if you flip through about 19 pages, you should see, I'm going to come close to the camera here, should see changing improper fractions to mixed numbers. You should see a bunch of problems on there. So the first box there is going from improper to a mixed number. So if you'll remember what the difference is, improper fractions, the numerator is larger than the denominator. And a mixed number is a fraction that has a whole number and a fraction together. So all we're going to work on today is how to change in between both of those because that's an important skill to have when we start getting into what we're going to teach you next, which is dividing fractions. So you should have added and multiplied and subtracted fractions in 5th grade. We're going to continue on there with dividing fractions. So Ms. Bridwell is going to take over for a minute and teach you how to go from improper to a mixed number. Then I'm going to come in and teach you how to go the opposite way from mixed to improper.
Okay, so just a quick review. Mr. Winstead covered some of this, but we want to make sure you know that vocabulary. Proper fraction, improper fraction, and mixed number. So proper fractions, again, your numerator is smaller than your denominator, which means that is less than one whole. Okay, so proper fractions are less than one whole. Improper fractions, that top number is bigger than the bottom. Okay? So that will be greater than one whole. And then your mixed number is, it's exactly what it says. It's a mix of whole number. So 3 is my whole number and 2/3 would be my fractional part. Okay, so hopefully that's a review that I think we covered in probably 4th or 5th grade. Okay, but you've got to know those words to know what they want you to do. All right, so the first part that we are looking at is the top of the page that Mr. Winstead told you about. The top says change these improper fractions to mixed numbers. Okay, so the way you're going to do that, it's fairly easy. And like Mr. Winstead said, you may have already had this. We don't know because we haven't had a chance to talk to you all. So this is improper. So we need to figure out how many 3s would be in 25 without going over. So it's just kind of deal with some math facts. So I know that 3 times 8 is going to give me 24. Well, that's really close. But I could just go ahead and try. 3 times 9 we should know is 27. Well, that's too many, it went over. So I've got to use 8 as my whole number. So 8 is my whole number. It goes 8 whole times. Your denominator, whatever it was to begin with, is what it has to stay. So since it was a 3, we leave it a 3. Now the easiest thing to do here is go, well, we know that 8 times 3 was 24. Well, how many more do I need to get to 25? I need just one more, and that becomes your numerator. Anything I need to add?
No, I mean, that right there should look very familiar to you from what we've been doing the past couple of weeks, because that right there looks a lot like long division to me. How many times will 3 go into 25 without going over? Well, it goes 8 times, which is 24. So if I take that 24 out of the 25, how many will I have left? Well, I have 1 left, but that's the numerator, keep my denominator the same. You just converted from improper to a mixed number.
All right, we're going to do one more of those for you. So let's see, let's go like we're reading in your folder. So it's going to be 15 over 12. So again, we know that that's improper because the top number is bigger than the bottom. So I got to figure out, well, how many 12s can go into 15 without going over? That one should be easy for you. We should know that it's going to go one whole time. Your denominator stays the same. It was a 12 to begin with, it stays a 12 now. So 12 went into 15 one whole time. and we know 12 times 1 is 12. I need 3 more to get to 15. Now, one thing we need to make sure you're understanding is this is equivalent to this, okay? 15 twelfths is equivalent to 1 and 3 twelfths. But you should remember from younger grades how to simplify that fraction.
Now, this right here is one of the things, guys, that we struggle with as a 6th grade in whole, is realizing when do I need to simplify. And you may have used the term reduce in elementary school, but always try to think, can I reduce my fraction? Like over here, 1/3, it can't be reduced because it's as simple as it can go. But if you look at 3 and 12, you should realize, okay, they share a number, or they share a factor. We'll start using factors a lot here pretty soon. So if they share a factor or share a number, then they should be able to be reduced or simplified.
So if we know, well, what can go into 3 and 12 other than 1, and we know 3 goes into both of these. So if we leave our whole number alone, it's still a 1. 3 goes into 3 1 time, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. So again, all 3 of these things or fractions are equivalent. And then you might have to simplify again, but I know that 1 and 4 have no common factors other than 1, so I can't reduce it.
So all 3 of these are equivalent fractions to each other. So they all can be interchanged, they all can be used in different situations. So that's how you go from an improper to a mixed number. So now we're going to take a few minutes and we're going to kind of go in reverse. So we're going to be giving you a mixed number and we're going to change it back to an improper fraction. Now the reason we're showing you this is because mixed numbers and improper fractions have different uses throughout what we're fixing to do. Sometimes it's easier to use a mixed number or write your answer in a mixed number because it makes sense, so it's good to know how to go from an improper to a mixed. But when we actually get to dividing fractions, mixed numbers are not very friendly. So we need to know, okay, if we're given a mixed number, how do I make the number useful to me? So you might want to use an improper fraction versus a mixed number. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're starting off with a mixed number. Again, mixed number has a whole number and a fraction together. So what I usually say is think of a C, like that right there. So we have a C. And how do I use that to make it improper? Well, we look at a denominator first. We take our denominator and we multiply it by our whole number. So 4 times 4 is 16. Now, I have to use the numerator. So I multiply the denominator by the whole number, then I just add my new number here to my numerator, which 16 plus 3 is 19. So that becomes my new numerator. So recap real fast, take the denominator, multiply it by the whole, then whatever answer you get, add it to the numerator, you have your new numerator and your answer. And just like before when we did improper to mixed, our denominator stays the same. So all we're really changing is the numerator of our problem. The denominator stays exactly the same. So that's all we have to do to change it from a mixed to an improper. Now the improper is going to be very, very useful to us when we start dividing fractions because you can't divide with a mixed number. You have to change it to an improper. So it's something that you just need to be comfortable with and kind of understand how to do.
Because if you want to, some of our kids will go ahead and actually every time they come to this kind of problem, they'll write in that little times and that addition. You're welcome to do that if you want to. You don't have to, but that's a good visual to help you remember what to do.
Yeah. So same thing over here. Start with your denominator and multiply it by the 9. And that's why I kind of write the C this way, because if you think about how you're writing it, well, I start at the 2, and the next thing I come to is the 9. So that means I take 2 times 9, I get my little 18, and then I keep following my C, so the 18 plus 1 is 19. So we got another numerator of 19, and then I just keep my denominator the same. So I think going from mixed to improper is much easier than going from improper to mixed, because you don't have to think to yourself, how many times does this go into this? How many times does that go into that? It's just doing simple math. You multiply the denominator by the whole, add it to the numerator, and you got your answer. So Ms. Bridwell's now going to tell you what we want you to do today in class, and all that.
Okay, so you're going to do this whole page that Mr. Winston showed you. So the top part is going improper to mixed, so you should be okay there. Make sure you reduce those fractions if you can, okay? And then you're also going to do the entire bottom section down there that is mixed number to improper. We know that's a decent amount of work, but it's super important. If you can't do this, you can't divide the fractions when we're ready, okay? So it's worth your time to make sure you understand how to do this, okay? You don't need to do the back of that page, just the front, the top, and the bottom, and you all are good to go.
And just remember, as always, put your answers on Google Form, and submit that to us so that we can input your grade. And if you have any questions, let us know. We'll be here to help you. Other than that, hope you have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.